Everybody, the international event to coming to our wonderful circuit up to the Paradise Island is Pertamina Mandalika International Circuit. Dunia GT3 saat ini sudah mulai menyala dan juga sudah mulai berbunyi. Beberapa saat lagi mereka akan menyapa Anda hadirin sekalian untuk hadir di grid posisi mereka masing-masing sebelum race kedua akan dilakukan. Jadi saat nanti mereka akan berada pada grid mereka masing-masing dan sebelum opening seremonial dengan Indonesia Raya akan kita lakukan, tentu saja kembali lagi kami mohon untuk kerjasamanya semua Anda sekalian untuk nanti saya akan memandu untuk kita teriakan Mandalika, Mandalika, Indonesia. Setuju? Terima kasih banyak. one car is already in the grid position. Dan kita bisa melihat di sini dari Origin Motorsport ada Porsche 911 GT3 R992, ada Climax Racing Team di row yang kedua dengan Mercedes AMG GT3 Evo hadir juga di posisi di row yang kedua, ataupun juga di posisi ketiga adalah Phantom Global Racing dengan Porsche 911 GT3 R992. Lalu juga hadirnya juga di posisi yang keempat ataupun juga row yang kedua Winher Harmony Racing China dengan Ferrari 29A6 GT3. Opening seremonial saat ini berada tidak jauh dari tikungan pertama ataupun juga dari ujung grandstand kita. Jadi Anda masih punya kesempatan bila mana ingin berpindah sedikit ke area kanan untuk bisa mengabadikan momen ini dengan opening seremonial. Kami persilakan. Kalau biasanya kita melakukan opening seremonial tepatnya langsung di gate ataupun juga di gantry, di board yang besar di tengah-tengah Anda, tapi kali ini karena mobil yang akan start nampaknya adalah 34 mobil, oleh karena itu kita memajukan sedikit untuk mereka hadir di area ini. Dan saat ini kita akan hadir untuk opening ceremonial tepatnya di tengah-tengah row pertama dan juga row yang kedua. Rekan-rekan media sekalian, baik dari cetak, elektronik dan juga online, kami persilakan Anda juga boleh bersiap-siap untuk bisa mengabadikan opening ceremonial yang akan kita lakukan tepatnya di depan row kedua. Saat ini sudah hadir Bapak Wenda Nabil hadir dari ITDC, sudah hadir juga Bapak Troy Reza Waroka dari ITDC, Mr. Sevan from SRO, Organizer Asia saat ini juga sudah hadir, terima kasih banyak. Bapak Kapolda kali ini juga sudah hadir, perwakilan dari Custom saat ini juga sudah hadir, terima kasih banyak. Dan juga dari Ikatan Motor Indonesia, Bapak Ananda Mikola, kami persilakan juga boleh hadir. Dan juga perwakilan juga dari sponsor-sponsor kami persilakan. Dari Mandiri, dari Bank Mandiri kami persilakan. Bank Mandiri, silakan. Okay, we'll give the space for each other. Our VIP from ITDC, from MGPA, from our... Ladies and gentlemen, please give your big respect. Dan kali ini kita bisa berdiri bersama-sama to listen our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Indonesia Raya. Kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah Mandalika. Ladies and gentlemen, now we can see our traditional dancer from Lombok, Gendang Black. Dan kami persilakan kali ini kepada semuanya untuk bisa langsung enjoy dan juga melihat grid-grid para pebalap saat ini kepada seluruh para VIP kami. And everyone, right now you can enjoy the grid position is our racing for GTWorld Challenge Asia powered by AWS. Now is our performance from Gendang Black, traditional dancer from Lombok. Kepada seluruh tamu-tamu yang hadir di Royal Box, Anda juga bisa menikmati untuk hadir di grid posisi kali ini. Kami persilakan Bapak dan Ibu sekalian yang berada di Royal Box, kami juga tunggu Anda untuk hadir di grid posisi.
akan memberi nama kebanggaan Indonesia. Ku yakin Tuhan hadir berikan anugerah. Lahir di negeri ini Mandalika terindah.
GT3 racing as Mandalika International Circuit becomes the 12th venue to be visited by the Asian Series. Best known to backpackers and surfers looking for that perfect wave, the island of Lombok is now ready to cement itself in the world of international four-wheeled motorsport. It's the Sunday race, race 2 of the GTWorld Challenge Asia, coming up. Surfboard, such a symbol of this small island. Traditional dancers ready to sing and play, but first, the national anthem. The local dance troupe from Lombok, putting together a fantastic collaboration dance showing the beautiful Mandalikan culture with colourful, cheerful happiness. An Indonesian culture across all the different islands, very unique to the specific island you're on. And here in Lombok, both displays of local culture as well as the celebration of dance. It's a brand new venue to everybody on the grid. Let's jump on board with Dan Arrow.
Hi everybody, my name actually here in GTWorld Challenge Asia, so I'm very excited. As we exit the last corner, sliding out onto the curbs, it was very, very wet and very surprising. We had quite a lot of rain these days, but let's get to the lap. As you see, turn 1, we're chasing the Mercedes up ahead, and what might surprise you is we're actually driving on the ideal racing line. Usually you would avoid this as rubber gets laid down from all our Pirelli tires, and rubber is oil, oil and water aren't best friends. But as you see, I'm chasing the Mercedes and just driving the normal wet line, dry line, as we do slide off the corner here. But what's really surprising, this MotoGP track has the highest quality asphalt I've ever experienced, because we're normally driving on the dry line. As we come into turn 10, I try to outbrake the Mercedes ahead, which does work where there's actually less traction. But we get a good exit, and now we get a clear view of the track ahead with less spray, where you can see that the asphalt is not very porous, yet extremely grippy, and all the GT3 cars which have passed ahead have sucked up all the water and sprayed it into the air to give us a more clear view, at least, where here in the third sector you see there's multiple lines getting through, and so there's more standing water. As we pass a slow car on the left, we see a yellow flag in the distance, so we slow down a bit, try and look as far as our eyesight can help us out to make sure we don't endanger anyone, while still trying to stay close to the car ahead. Here, last corner, you see me try and get a good run on the 991 ahead, and I do get a clear exit as we see a finish flag waved at us for a lap at Mandalika Circuit. Very, very wet. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
After 2 days of massive thunderstorms in the afternoon, thankfully, beautiful blue skies greeting us for today's second race. The first race was under threatening skies. Here's what happened. Here's the highlights then of the first of our races here in a brand new venue, Mandalika. And Frankie Kung Fu Chen led the cars down into turn 1 as he had done in the first round of the championship. Anthony Liu trying to go down the inside of Daniel Frost for P2, but got a little bit of a wiggle on, lost momentum, and in the end dropped back to 4th position, with the Winnie Harmony Ferrari of David Chen going around the outside of him for 3rd position. Qualifying had been interrupted by a couple of red flags, and it put all kinds of cars out of position. That was not the position that the Climax Racing Mercedes wanted to be, and the first of our safety car for Zhang Yaiqi in heavily into the barriers. The 55 Harmony Racing Ferrari also expired on circuit, which meant we had pit stops under full course yellow conditions. Every single car coming in basically on the same lap. It did again slightly shuffle the pack because pit stops couldn't be made as efficiently as everyone would have liked. Back to green flag racing, and it got very, very frenetic because the pros were in the cars and they were trying their best for the best performance. This nearly ended in disaster for Alessio Piccarello on the grass, but thankfully the grass not that wet and he was able to hold the car in the right direction. But it did allow Dorian Boccolacci to have a little bit of an advantage. Further back, Maxime Hussein finding his way through the pack. The car had started 23rd position, but the BMW eventually finding his way past Akish Nandi and into the head of the Silveram category. Harry King experimenting with all parts of the racetrack. The back is shot. He went down the inside of Akish Nandi at turn 1. Unfortunately, contact between the two of them, and Nandi, who was second in silver, got spun around. At the head of the field, though, easy pickings for Leo Ye and Bob Yuan, taking their second victory in only 3 rounds of this championship so far. A dominant one, you would say. But Leo Ye said he wasn't very fast. He certainly looked fast to everybody else out there. Fantastic to have founder and CEO of SRO organisation down on the grid with Emily.
Hello, race 2. Here I'm in Mandalika in race 2's grid, and we have Stefan right next to me. So Mandalika, the atmosphere is amazing. The race yesterday was amazing, and everyone seems to love it. How is that for you?
It's a wonderful place. I really recommend to every racer around the world to come here. The circuit is great. The drivers are really enjoying it, and the location is just a little paradise. And it's very, very, very nice to be here.
Definitely. And today, well, with this weekend, we have 34 cars, beautiful cars on the grid. It's a full grid. How do you think about that?
Well, I mean, GTWorld Challenge globally is a real success. I was at the opening round in America at Sonoma, then in Europe, in Puerto Rico, and last weekend in Sydney for Australia, and now we're here for Asia in Mandalika. And GTWorld Challenge Asia is really skyrocketing. It's very successful, brings all Asian nationalities together, and it's getting more and more professional, more and more competitive. So we're very happy about it.
Okay, then let's look forward for the race. Thank you, Stefan.
We will. Enjoy.
Thank you.
And being given a symbol of this island, the surfboard, with the SRO branding on it. Looks fantastic. Not sure how he's going to get that back to his offices back in Europe, but we'll be looking forward to a very, very exciting race. There's one of the cars on the front row, a car that hasn't got a single point to its name, but Lorenzo Patrese has always been fast, whether it be in qualifying or indeed in race trim. They've just not been particularly lucky. That car retired yesterday and just missed out on the points in Sepang. So excited to see what they can do from the front row of the grid. We also got a very surprising Nissan on the second row of the grid, and Emily is chatting to that driver.
Now we'd be talking to you, Kanamaru. So the only running car, Nissan GTR, in the grid. How's the car feeling so far this weekend?
I'm not sure if you can hear it, but since we got here, we have a really good time, and you know, in the qualifying we had a really good pace, and then yesterday I think we had a really good pace in the race as well. So so far it's been good.
Mandalika, I'm sure it's your first time racing here. How's your impression of the circuit?
I mean, to be honest, I was surprised that like the track is like very clean and very like beautiful, and I really love this track.
Okay then, so hope you have a good race. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That really is the global feeling around the paddock. The circuit is very clean, and in wet or dry conditions runs really, really well and runs really fast. There's really good grip levels down there in a GT3 car, a lot of mid to high speed corners, and these pro drivers that will start race 2 are gonna absolutely love going door to door. The Nissan up on the second row of the grid. I know there are Nissan Nismo fans all over the world. It might not be recognized as a global GT3 brand any longer, but the car is still available to race, as is 13 different cars. And we welcome a European professional driver to Asia for the first time. Let's go down to Thierry Vermeulen.
So I have Thierry right next to me. You're just going to have the race just in a minute now, but it's your first race here in GT Asia for this season. How's everything going so far?
It's been an extreme pleasure to drive here with the team. Also, big thanks to Anderson, the whole team. You know, it's the first proper race with the Ferrari, so it's taken a bit of time. We missed some laps on Thursday, but everyone has been working hard. We're starting from P5, so not too far off where we want to be. It's going to be a hot race, so we'll give it our everything, and we're going to enjoy it, and hopefully we'll be back for some more rounds.
Thank you, Thierry. Good luck to you.
A car that picked up a single point yesterday, 10th position for Thierry Vermeulen, who was so very, very fast, both in practice and in that second stint yesterday. Excited to see how fast he can be. He usually drives an Aston Martin in Europe, and in fact got a Sprint Cup podium at Brands Hatch a couple of weekends ago, but now being pushed into the Porsche for, the Ferrari for this weekend. So having to sample different GT3 cars, but with Verstappen.com has actually had a lot of experience in all kinds of GT3 cars in testing because they have a good fleet of cars. Max was in a Ferrari at the Nordschleife, known as Franz Hermann, but he was there. We've got loads of F1 people on the grid as well. In this particular race, Giancarlo Fisichella we welcome for the first time. We also have, well, I don't know if Riccardo Patrese is here. A lot of the time, Riccardo joins his son, Lorenzo, at races, but I haven't seen him this weekend. And the third F1 representative, Marcus Winkelhock, will start the 46 Audi as a pro driver. A bit of housekeeping to do from yesterday. Lu Wei and Alessio Piccarello lost their 4th position for overtaking under yellow flags. They got a big penalty for that, and because the race finished so tight, that penalty dropped them well out of the points. So more work to do for the number 4. It will be Alessio who will start that car, but really disappointing to only have one single point on the board across 3 races for a car that should be fighting for the championship, but it's not been a good start to the season. The Toyota Supra safety car heads off to begin our warm-up lap. Not sure whether with the pro drivers we will have 2 formation laps today. I think they have confirmed that we will. So the first will be an official formation lap. The second lap will be effectively a lap under safety car because the time will start, and then they will go to the grid, and then they'll have their race start. 2x2 formation, unlike in a safety car start where it'd be 1x1. It's pretty standard practice now in Asia to do that, just to get everyone's eye in, try and warm the cars up. It's a pretty warm day out there, 31 degrees, so in fact warmer than we saw yesterday. 46 degrees track temperature. The pole in AM, a car we didn't see start really yesterday. Excited to see what EBM can do from their AM pole position. The silver pole position, once again to the 96, Winnear Harmony Racing, and the 55 on pole position for Silver AM, and on the front row of the grid, sharing that with the pole car from yesterday's qualifying session, Jaden Ajeda in the Pro-Am Craft Bamboo Mercedes, alongside him Patrese, then Kanemaru in the Nissan, and Boccolacci 4th position for Phantom Global Racing and Anthony Liu. Behind them, Vermeulen and Piccarello. Needs to score big today, does Piccarello. Then Ralph Aaron, Eduardo Mortara, a Lamborghini Works driver with us. Ben Green and Jordan Love on row 5. And then Ying Deng, Andy Ying, doing such a good job in that car. First in silver, Maxime Hussein just alongside him. Expect that BMW to climb through the field. Further back, Giancarlo Fisichella starting in 16th position alongside Harry King. There's Chris van der Drift. Great to welcome Chris back to the series after his full season back in 2019. Akish Nandi spun around. Marcus Winkelhock only starts down in 24th position. Not happy qualifying for Winkelhock. We welcome Nico Menzel back to the championship after his year back in 2018. And then a few more rookies. And welcome back to Andrew McPherson. His 60th start today in GT World Challenge Asia. Missed out on doing that with his teammate in Sepang due to illness. And so Andrew McPherson will start at the back of the field for this second race, and hoping to replicate what they did in Sepang, or what Ben Porter did on his own in Sepang, which was a victory in AM in race 1. And in fact, they picked up legit points, such as Ben Porter's pace in race 1 in AM. So the official start time then has begun as the first car crosses the start line, but we are obviously behind safety car still, getting everything warmed up. This is Thierry Vermeulen. A bit more on this driver, because actually he's just come really from nowhere. Started racing just after COVID, did a lot of sim racing during COVID, and fancied a bit of real world racing. His father manages Max Verstappen. There is the link with him and Verstappen.com, which is really Max's ambition to get more sim races into real world racing. And Vermeulen then supported by Verstappen and Verstappen.com as a team, which is run by Emil Frey. Raced in DTM His first race was the 9 hours of Kyalami a few years ago. And now we ride on board with the 500 Nissan. New Kanemaru, been drafted into that car for this year. And qualifying in 3rd position. Really very, very good qualifying for a car that is not the oldest car in the field, remarkably. That award goes to the Audi when it comes to GT3 homologation. But it is a car that is coming to the end of its homologation, and we don't see too many Nissan Nismo GTRs any longer. Same can be said for the Bentley, actually. That's still allowed to be used in GT3 racing. But as technology has moved on, and if you look at the new 296, at the Corvette, the way that these new build GT3 cars are put together is so spectacular. Technology really has moved on. Right then, Lorenzo Petresi in that light blue Ferrari, an Italian in a Ferrari alongside Jaden Ojeda, the Australian, in his Craft Bamboo Mercedes. It races both here in Asia and in the Australian series as well. Controlling the pace, waiting for the lights to go from red and off, and we go racing, and Dorian Boccolacci instantly getting the jump and going 3-4 wide as we head towards turn 1. We've got a few cars improvising on the inside line there. That's Ben Green in the Corvette, and the Nissan is going to lead through turn 1. Yu Kanemaru going side by side with Jaden Ojeda into turn 2. They'll run side by side once again. Can the Nissan hold the inside line into the first left-hander? No, he can't. And it's been a really good start for Thierry Vermeulen as Dorian Boccolacci loses the rear end of his Porsche. Vermeulen up to 3rd position. Boccolacci just about holding on to 4th as Picarello tries to move up to 5th. And is that a Corvette? It is a Corvette up to 5th position. Remarkable start from Ben Green, I think that is. In the 99 it is. Picarello comes down the inside of Ben Green into turn 10. And should get that move done, but a really, really exciting start from our mainly pro drivers in this first stint today. If you are a silver duo, then obviously it's a silver driver in the car. And the best of those is Andy Dung in 7th position in his Ferrari. But a huge amount of shuffling going on through the first couple of corners there as everyone tries to find their space. There's Ralph Aron down in 11th position, so not a great start for Ralph Aron. Side by side, Boccolacci and Vermeulen. Boccolacci round the outside in the Porsche through the final turn and gets that one done. He now has the inside line to turn 1, but side by side there seems to be more momentum from the Ferrari. And can the Ferrari sweep around the outside into the final turn? No, he can't. We've got a spinner at the final turn. The 46 has gone around. And that's Marcus Finkelhock having a really horrible day. And actually, there might be a few cars off at that final turn. Yes, oh, there's Finkelhock. And I think that's Anders Forkback as well. And where about Lorenzo Petresi? Where's Lorenzo Petresi? In the pits, I think. From the front row of the grid, we didn't follow what happened to him. Oh, it's been big damage for Petresi. He must have gone off somewhere. It's pretty hard to hit something, and a safety car gets called. That's pretty understandable from the mess that's down there at the final turn of the lap. But Petresi shouldn't have been anywhere near that mess. So he's going to be involved in a separate incident. And we also have the number 61 of Chris van der Drift that has come into pit lane as well. El Burma Motorsport retiring a car in lap 1 of race 1, and also now retiring a car lap 1 of race 2. That is Anders Forback. It was on the podium yesterday, sharing with Kieron Ling. I'm afraid quite a bit of damage done to the rear of that car. A lot of debris, and I wonder whether race control will put the cars through pit lane just to avoid that debris. Although, I suppose they can't, can they? Because they haven't yet been picked up by the safety car. What happened to Lorenzo Petresi? Started on the front row of the grid, started alongside the Nissan, and it was going through turns 1 and 2, where we saw the Nissan alongside Jaden Jada, but I have to say I did not see what happened to the Ferrari. Lorenzo Petresi is back out onto circuit now, so just ahead of the safety car. He will join the back of the pack, but for a car that you have to say should have scored points over the last couple of weekends, to not have any points on the board and now to be back at the field is really very disappointing. In the background there, the Earl Bamber Porsche being pushed into the garage on the right-hand side. But again, Chris van der Drift was in the middle of the pack, so, and he's in the pit lane as well, so he couldn't have been involved in that last corner accident, and he shouldn't have been involved in Petresi, I wouldn't have thought. Either way, Jaden Jada leads, held onto the lead ahead of Kanemaru. There is Marcus Winkelhock, I imagine, walking back to the pits. He didn't qualify well in the 46, and it put him right in the middle of the pack, and now we can see what happened to him around that final turn. So he spun, potentially all on his own, and then got collected by Anders Forkback, the owner of High Class Racing, and that was the aftermath of it, I'm afraid. But from that first angle, it definitely looked like Winkelhock perhaps had just spun on his own. Might have been a little bit of contact. The contact would have had to be on that left side, and didn't look as though there was too much damage to the left side. So a very disappointing second race, and actually a very disappointing weekend for the 46, because if you remember, we had lots of very entertaining fighting from Winkelhock in the second part of race 1, but ultimately it led to his retirement because there was a bit too much door knocking. Jada, Kanemaru, Boccolacci, Vermeulen with a great start. Wow. Started down on the 3rd row. Okay, the 3rd row. So actually he only jumped up 2 positions, but looked very, very aggressive on that first lap, and then ended up falling behind Boccolacci eventually. Picarello was trying to be aggressive as well, wasn't he? And what about Ben Green? Started 9th and is now, after 1 racing lap in that 99 Corvette, up to 6th. So that was a good aggressive start. Who are the big losers then, I wonder? Obviously, Petresi being one. And Ralph Aron was the other one. Started in 7th and is now in 10th position. So that was a lose for Ralph Aron. Eduardo Mortara started 8th, now 7th, so that's about right. And then what about the 66, Jordan Love? Started 10th, dropped to 14th, so he was a loser as well. As all the cars come through pit lane to avoid the mess at that final turn, that also allows the marshals to work uninterrupted at that area. And there are the biggest losers. So Ralph Aron, Jordan Love, and the number 45 of Yu Kuai. Second pit stop for Lorenzo Petresi, and a chance to look inside the front end of a Ferrari. Wonder what race control will think of that. They did try and tape it down, didn't they, on that first pit stop? We saw them trying to tape down the bonnet. Right, whilst we're under safety car, let's take a look at the start again. So what happened to Petresi? Okay, so Petresi there, already losing a position to Boccolacci. He's got Picarello around the outside of him, so he gets squeezed by both. That's going to compromise his momentum. And already, gosh, the bonnet already being dislodged there. He's on the outside, and that is 10 positions lost in corner 1. And with that bonnet flapping around, he would then need to take care for the rest of the lap. The Nissan on the far inside here. He's got cars to his outside. Okay, so the Nissan comes across, squeezes Boccolacci, which in turn then means that Petresi has to get out of it a little bit. Not that that's any fault of the Nissans. And look at that clear track ahead of him going into turn 1. Could he hold around the outside? No, he definitely early doors thought against that as an idea. But a really good start. So Vermeulen, row 3. Again, trying to make it 4 wide, didn't he, Vermeulen? Boccolacci with a really good start, 4 wide ahead of him at that point. Patrese there being squeezed, that's where the first contact was. Vermeulen thinks, oh, I'll have a little bit of that. There's a space down the inside. Maybe some door rubbing there, perhaps? But that's up to 4th position for Vermeulen. He's got Picarello on his left-hand side. You can just about see him in the mirror. And I think actually Picarello had to take avoiding action. Boccolacci there, just offline, had to get out the throttle, and that's where Vermeulen managed to get through, but then Boccolacci got him back at the end of the lap. Great to be able to see all the different angles, and we've picked the right onboards this weekend because they gave us some really interesting racing action there. Track now clear at the final turn, which is good news, which presumably means that race control will allow us to go racing shortly. A real shame to lose a few cars out of that one. Especially Van der Drift, who wasn't involved in any of those incidents, but the Old Burma Racing Porsche, because they've got a Mercedes and a Porsche. Mercedes retired out of race 1, is still running in this race, but the Porsche retiring out of race 2. Van der Drift with such an illustrious career. 3-time Porsche Carrera Cup Asian champion, then moved to Lamborghinis and won that championship in Asia twice. Actually had a relatively quiet year so far for Chris, so great for him to come over and join the series in place of Dylan Pereira. Dan Arrow, 11 places gained. Didn't qualify very well, to be fair, but 11 places gained in what was basically half a lap of racing. He needed to get his elbows out, and indeed he did. Now 17th position. Just behind the 45 out of James Yu Kwai. Daniel Liu in front of him. 3rd in the Silver Am category. James Yu 2nd in silver, with Andy Dung up in 9th position and leading the silver category. Right, safety car in. Lights are out on the top of the Toyota. We now hand over the responsibility to Jaden Ajada. He's keeping that front row really well packed. Trying to put off Kanemaru, who's sticking right close to the back end of that Mercedes AMG GT3. And now Jaden goes, but Kanemaru was absolutely equal to him, as was Boccolacci in 3rd and Vermeulen in 4th. A little bit of an advantage for Ojeda through the final turn, and yeah, actually he's done well to keep those tyres up to temperature and stretched out an advantage as we go back to green flag racing and head down towards turn 1. Mortara in the background, under pressure from Max Hussein in the BMW. It's side by side there, and just behind a little bit of a dive bomb from Ralph Aron on Andy Dung, but that hasn't worked for him. Ralph Aron trying to give the hurry up there after a bad start in the Mercedes. The Climax Racing number 2 that started in 7th position. Led most of the race in Sepang in race 2 until it was turned around. In a battle for the lead it was, and eventually ended up scoring no points. It's a car that we would expect to see lots of points accrued for, and that is why Ralph Aron wants to get a wriggle on. Again, down the inside of Andy Dung. This time, should be able to make it stick. Has the inside, has the overlap coming into the next of the right-handers, which is turn 11, and again has to fade out of it. Good work from Andy Dung here to keep him behind. Keeping the field compressed with the 87 of Leo Ye. So strong yesterday, but qualifying wasn't so good for Leo. So he's right there in the mix of things in the number 11, in the 87, sorry, our championship leader. Advantage, Jaden Ajada at the head of the field. Kanemaru with a little bit of a queue behind him, putting Boccolacci to his right-hand side through the final turn. This could be an advantage to Vermeulen if he can get a good exit out the final turn. On board in the Ferrari. And actually, this time around, perhaps the Ferrari wasn't close enough to the Porsche. It really didn't have much of a tow down the main straight. The Nissan holding strong and giving Jaden Ojeda a really nice lead. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cars in queue behind, with Ben Green in the race-winning 99 Corvette in 6th position, but within touching distance of second. That will please greatly Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim, who will be getting into that car for the second stint. Green looks to the inside. I think that was a feint rather than anything else. A lot of moving around. Somebody has a dislodged splitter. Can hear that flapping around under the car. It makes a flapping noise basically. And somebody coming past our camera position there at turn 10. Probably a little bit further down the order here. There's not much to hit. There's a few bollards and a few little yellow markers to show you where the apex of the corners are, because invariably everything is so flat. The curbs are really flat because it's a FIM motorbike circuit. It's really hard, as you can see there on that final turn, to pick out your apex, especially in the mid to high speed corners. Mortara defending 7th position from Max Hussein. Mortara in the Pro-Am machine. Oh, and ahead, here comes Picarello on Thierry Vermeulen. Down the inside with a little bit of contact, and maybe Ben Green will try and take advantage of that. Round the outside of turn 2, outside of turn 3, may give him the inside for turn 4, has given him the inside for turn 4, and he moves ahead. So that's 2 corners where Vermeulen's lost 2 positions. Just being put offline, basically. Picarello up to 4th, Green to 5th, Vermeulen down to 6th position. What they really need to do is get past the Nissan. Unless Kanemaru's now got himself up to speed. A 30.9 last time. Yeah, but Ojeda did a 29.6 on that last lap. Massive advantage to the Craft Bamboo Mercedes at the head of the field that won race 2. No, it didn't win race 2. It came second in race 2 in Sepang. Shares the car with Tao Chi. We'll be getting into it in the second stint. And there is Ojeda's best lap. Leo Ye, the second fastest man out on circuit, despite being right in the middle of everything, down in the 11th position. Fisichella doing a similar thing. That's Fisichella, he's not even on, oh, he's 13th position. Yeah, so in a similar position actually. You've got Ye, Jordan Love and Fisichella, 11th, 12th and 13th, all with fast laps to their names. But it is a big, long train, as you can see, of GT3 cars behind the number 500. That is proper commitment from our GT3 drivers. They're turning hard, leaning hard on the left wheel, as down the inside in the 66, Jordan Love takes a position from Leo Yi. That's up to 11th spot then for Jordan Love. He's with Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim in the 66, who is perhaps more familiar to us over the last couple of years. Prince Abu Bakr with 2 victories to his name, 5th last year. Here is Fisichella getting his elbows in. Around the outside, Harry King in the Porsche. And a little wiggle from Leo Ye. Has Leo got an issue? Because losing another position, Fisichella slides up to 12th. And I imagine that Harry King has done the same thing. There is Harry, in fact, side by side with Fisichella. Now, hang on. No, Leo Ye's got back ahead of Fisichella. And now they run side by side. Fisichella at least has the inside line going through turn 1. There is the leader in silver, uncontested at the moment, in 9th, and it's side by side for the second of our Lamborghinis. That is Akish Nandi, I think. Yes, it's Nandi with James Yu Kwai in the 45 Audi. And ahead of them, Jordan King for 15th position. Not Jordan King, Harry King Jordan King's a completely different racing driver. James Ukwai down the inside of Akish Nandi. That moves him up to 16th position. And behind him, the two Porsche Center Okazaki Porsches going side by side together. Great to have the two of them. We only had one in Sepang, but both racing here to give us our capacity field. But they are outside of the points right now, and even outside of their class podium. Right, to the head of the field. Oh, who is that? Coming into the pits, that was the number 13 with a damaged rear wheel arch of Adley Fong. So another disappointing run for Phantom Global. Mortara making that Lamborghini very, very wide for Max Hussein, who at the moment is only second in Silver Am. The 89 BMW has won every single Silver Am competition so far. Both victories in Sepang and yesterday, but with that great qualifying session from Kanemaru and with that Nissan being particularly wide up in second position, Hussein is only second in class right now. Ralph Aron again looking down the inside of the 96 that runs wide, and now it's easy pickings for both himself and Jordan Love. And that puts Jordan Love up into the points, does it not? Because Andy Dung has dropped down to 11th. Yeah, Ralph Aron now 9th, and Jordan Love 10th position. And Leo Ye, actually just to the back of shot there, has got back past Fisichella and cleared off. So, let's recap then. Ojeda over the line with a 3.9 second advantage over Kanemaru second, Boccalacci, Picarello, Ben Green, Vermeulen. Then a little gap to Mortara and Hussein, who we were watching. Then a gap to Aron and Love. And now Leo Ye crawling all over the back of Andy Dung, around the outside perhaps through turn one. That will be a pretty dangerous move around the outside of two as well. And he's managed to make it stick, Leo Ye. I wonder if that Winner Harmony Racing Ferrari is struggling, having had a dip into the gravel trap. And Ye will now have clear air and will set about chasing down Jordan Love and into the points. A car that has not missed out on points so far this season. 2 victories and a 5th. Here another rumble down the pit lane. We've got somebody else coming in to be serviced, and that's the 13th car back in again, I'm afraid. So Adley Fong presumably retiring the Phantom Global Racing Porsche. I was thinking how little damage we had so far across the weekend. We had a few cars in the gravel, but up until the 44 went hard into the wall yesterday. That Climax Mercedes, by the way, not participating today because it was such a big hit. We didn't really have any big damage to many of our cars, but it has been a little bit more elbows out today. Next round of the championship in Buriram in Thailand in a few weeks' time. All of the shipping containers will be heading that way directly. And the Go Chizen Nissan Nismo GTR holding on to second position. 1, 2, 3 fast right-handers around the first part of this lap, and then they go back to a left. And this, if you put it on a hill, would be an Eau Rouge style of turn. Really almost flat out. Just a few of our drivers just giving themselves a little confidence lift or touch the brakes just to settle the car. But it's those mid to high speed corners that these pro drivers are absolutely loving around Mandalika. On board once again with Giancarlo Fisichella, 14th position for the number 60 LM Corsa Ferrari. Got Dan Arrow in 13th now, so Dan is proving his worth for Volgas, who had an all-Korean lineup in Sepang, but have drafted in Dan Arrow for this weekend. And that car way down the field in race 1, but I'll tell you what, doing a much better job in race 2. Harry King, once again, going elbow to elbow with Giancarlo Fisichella. The window opens for pits, and so our silver drivers are able to already take advantage of an early pit stop. James Yu Kwai comes in, and he will hand over to Chen Kong Fu. That's the pole car from both race 1 in Sepang and race 1 here in Mandalika. An early pit stop for the Audi Sport Phantom Global Racing. Also coming to the pits, the second of our silver cars is Chris van der Drift. No, that won't be Chris van der Drift, will it? That is Ben Porter in the 51 coming out onto circuit. So they've made an early stop in the 51 car as well, as is the 16. And that'll be Sean Thong pitting early to hand over to Rio. So clearly of those two drivers, it was definitely advantage Sean Thong in Sepang, but looks as though Rio is the preferred choice here in Mandalika. For our Pro-Am competitors, though, don't expect pit stops for another couple of laps, because they will want to take full advantage of the pro pace that these drivers have, as our leader, Jaden the Jader, comes over the line once again. What's the gap this time? Still 3.9, as the fastest lap of the race goes to Yu Kanemaru in the Nissan Nismo GTR. Do we need to start going through the archives and working out when we saw a Nissan GTR on the podium last time? It possibly wouldn't be too hard, because I think they took a victory in Sepang last year. No, in Suzuka, sorry. I think. Check that. Leo Ye, with that clean air, has set the fastest lap, taking it away from Kanemaru. A 29.296, as he chases down Jordan Love and Ralph Aron just ahead. Yes, the Nissan did take a victory in Suzuka last year. 77, another of our silver competitors, Daniel Frost, jumping aboard that car. Remember, pit stops are timed in GT World Challenge, so 100 seconds from pit in to pit out. Unless you are a silver, where you have to do 107 seconds. So slightly longer pit stops for all the silver lineups. And then there is the success penalty for our top 3 yesterday. So Leo Ye in the 87 will have an extra 15 seconds in the pits. Ralph Aron in the number 2 Mercedes with 10 seconds. And then Boccolacci and Anthony Liu with 5 seconds. So that number 37 is going to lose that 3rd position. And it's probably going to drop down to around those two, Mortara and Matsu Sen, I would guesstimate. Oh, look, it's actually Kanemaru who's got the flappy splitter. You can see that with this low shot from the camera, you can see the air between the bottom of the car, or the gap between the bottom of the car and the tarmac, appearing and disappearing. And that is where the splitter, or sometimes the rear end of the car, becomes detached. It's not a great problem, but it will make that car feel a little bit unsettled, and you'll certainly feel the vibration. "29 minutes remaining of this race. 4 minutes before the pit lane shut, so we could get away with 2 more laps. Boccolacci really needed to get past Kanemaru, because with that 5 seconds of success penalty, that 37 car is going to drop down the field, and then you're asking Anthony Liu to do the work to get himself back up ahead of the likes of Lu Wei, who will take over the number 4. and Prince Geoffrey in the 99, and Anderson Tonotto in the 98. Oh, Anderson is going to love having a car in the top 6 positions. It's only a race-by-race entry, that Ferrari. Anderson from a very well-known Indonesian family. The Tonotto Foundation doing a huge amount for Indonesian families around the country, which Anderson basically heads up. There you go, you can see that flappy splitter under the car once again for this. It's not really slowing him up at all, is it? But Tonotto doesn't have a huge amount of racing experience. It's only his 2nd weekend with us. I say 2nd, double checking. No, it's his 3rd weekend with us. So he did 1 weekend last year and then did last weekend. And don't know the next time we will see that car, but certainly Thierry Vermeulen would like to be coming back. Here is Ben Green, all over the back of Alessio Piccarello. First time in that Corvette for Ben. Raced all kinds of different GT3 cars as we start to get our pit sequence underway. Remember, Boccolacci and Anthony Liu in the 37 are going to lose 5 seconds to the cars around them, thanks to their success yesterday. Into the pits. Hits his marks. There's no rush for pit stops in GT World Challenge Asia. You're allowed to change the tyres. So Anderson will get a new set of tyres, as will Anthony Liu. Maybe not new, but certainly a different set of tyres. There's also time to be able to be bolted into the car without too much of a panic. So Anderson here on board should be all settled in by the time the mechanic lifts the board and says, be on your way. And then the team have, in theory, timed the entrance to pit box and then pit box to out so that your pit stop time is perfect. And it was something that was very hard to do yesterday during the full course yellow, because everybody came in at the same time, whereas as you can see today, we are slightly splitting the strategy between our Pro-Am cars. So Jaden Ojeda, our leader of the race, comes into the pits now, 1 lap later than that of Vermeulen and Boccolacci, who were just out ahead. And of course, because the 37 has that 5 seconds extra penalty, the 98 now ahead of the 37 leaving the pits. The rest of them trundling down the pit lane. Into the 96, the owner of Winair Harmony Racing, David Chen. He heads back out onto circuit. I wonder how that will have affected the strategy. There's the 55, Lorenzo Petraci. Just slightly overshooting his pit box there. And that suddenly now means that that pit stop has to be a little bit more rushed than usual, because the time has started ticking from the entrance to the pits to the exit. But Petraci able to continue in the 296 without the bonnet. Out on track, Anderson Tonotto on board with him, crawling all over the back of Anthony Liu, who's already got past him, and sets off into the distance. Liu, remember, is a champion of GT World Challenge Asia back in 2013. He is the man with the most wins to his name in the championship, 6 in total. And in comparison to Anderson Tonotto's experience, worlds apart. Tonotto with some Ferrari World Challenge experience to his name, and actually did a lot of GT4 racing back in 2018. But recently, and certainly in GT3, pretty limited. So taking his time to build up. So those that pitted in on the second lap of pit stops have come back out on the circuit. There's the Nissan, presumably second, because Cao Chi will be up ahead of them. But he stays ahead of Wei Lu. And then they are ahead of Ibrahim. And actually, that's a good pit stop for the 89 here of Ruan Kunfan, who dives down the inside of Prince Ibrahim. He's got ahead of the 19 Lamborghini of Antra. And that has been a great pit stop. That's worked out very, very well for Team KRC. And Ruan Kunfan is now, well, I think, up into, yeah, the top 4. Antra to 6th, and Prince Ibrahim losing a couple of positions to 7th, and all of those ahead of Boccolacci and Tonotto. Here comes Anthony Liu in place of Boccolacci. Graphics will catch up once the drivers have changed their IDs. But what is the gap for our leaders? The gap has gone huge. Cao Chi leaves this race by 8 seconds now over Motoki in the Nissan, then Lu Wei, then Ru Kunfan, then Antra. And that is taking us all the way back to the tail of the top 10. Tonotto in 9th and Mike Joe in 10th position in the number 2 Mercedes. There is our leader, though, now in the hands of Cao Chi. 7.9 the gap. That is what it looks like in real time, just about in the same camera shot as Motoki comes through that sweeping complex of 7, 8 and 9 and down the big braking zone at 10. Here comes Anthony Liu down the inside of Prince Jeffrey. And nicely done, back up to 6th position. Making light work of the Corvette, just deciding to slightly feign a defence. And here comes Prince Jeffrey's brother, Prince Abu Bakr, in the 66, looking at his brother and teammate at JMR, a brand new team, stands for Johor Motorsport Racing. Oh, and we've got a car off, at least one. The number 10 is Jeffrey Lee, that shares that car with Nico Menzel, and actually he was well up there actually, so Brian Lee in 13th position. Good to see him getting going again, which means we don't need any safety car intervention. And now we have Prince Abu Bakr Ibrahim in the 66, Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim in the 99. There was a rumour that their mother, the Queen, would be coming over this weekend to enjoy the delights of Lombok. I'm not sure whether that happened or not. We did see the King of Malaysia also at Sepang, their father. And of course, with that victory in the second race, there was huge celebrations. So there's Brian Lee facing the wrong direction already at turn 10. And, oh, it looks as though the other Audi, the 45 of Kung Fu Cheng, got involved with him. That is not good for the silver class leader. And Harry King showing what it's like for an Englishman to go racing in the sweat of Lombok. It's actually not too bad humidity-wise in comparison to some of the days that we've had here, but it is hotter than certainly I've experienced across the few days being here. I can tell you the 55 is coming to the pits again, so I'm afraid Win Here Harmony Racing will leave their second weekend with 0 points. And once again, over the line, leader in Silver Am. Motoki continues to hold on to second overall as well. But Wei Lu is closing him down. It's getting closer and closer. I don't know whether Lu Wei will fight that too hard. Doesn't need to class-wise, but he won't want to be under pressure from Ruan Kunfan. The 89 has won that class every single race so far. Silver leaders once again, David Chen, and they have a decent advantage over Daniel Frost in second position. And Elegant Racing once again leading in AM, but we need to keep an eye on where their competitors are in relation. Satuan Santosho, another Indonesian driver 6 seconds back from this Mercedes. So that's comfortable, isn't it? It's not that car. It's the one behind. And then, yeah, it's pretty close. And you can imagine that Ben Porter's going to be closing those 3 down. So actually, the AM competition, there's the 3rd position car. Cipto Bantoro, another Indonesian driver, and an Indonesian flagged team. But the top 3 in AM separated by 10 seconds. So nice and tight with Ben Porter down a few more seconds, but he will be closing them up. And now we start shuffling the pack once more. The LM Corsa Ferrari taking a position from Mike Joe. That must be just on the outskirts of the top 10. Yes, it is. So that's going to shuffle Wakasaka up into the points. Mike Joe dropping out of the points. And here comes David Chen now in the leading silver car, down the inside and up into 11th position. But they might still get themselves some overall points here. As Mike Joe drops further down the order. The next one to try and get past is Hang Ming Wang in the Volgas Porsche. This, though, for 2nd position. Motoki and Lu Wei. Cao Chi leads. It's 9.3 now, the gap to these two. And, of course, as they begin to fight, as Motoki starts to look into his rear-view mirror, then the pace of these two will slow down even more. Looks to the outside. No space there. Now the cutback, but the Nissan claims the apex. That works better at this corner, really. The last corner of the lap. We had this most amazing Subaru BRZ Super Series race yesterday, where they kept doing that switchback move through those final 2 turns. Nothing more than 0.2 of a second ever separated the 2 cars. And they had a completely different set of racing lines throughout the lap, but it worked for them. I don't know whether Lu Wei was watching as well, because staying super wide through the penultimate turn and allowing yourself the cutback and then doing the same thing on the final turn gave you such a big slingshot down the start and finish straight. This number 4 car, let's not forget, 3rd in 2013 and 2014. Ooh. We've got stop goes for 4 different cars, including the leader. A stop-go penalty into the pits, and then has to do a 1-second stop because he was 1 second too short in the pit stop. That is a disaster for Craft Bamboo Racing. Oh, I was about to give you all the stats on when Cao Chi last won, which was never. And he's going to have to hand over the lead to that battle for second. 1 second too short. The calculation from the team was not quite right. They can hold the car for a certain amount of time in the pit box, but what they need to know and what matters is pit in to pit out. And 4 cars have ended up going 1 second too fast. So that means this battle about to appear into camera shot is our lead battle now. Motoki, Lu Wei and Anthony Liu finds himself in race challenging position with 6 victories to his name. Anthony Liu now will start to be threatening, and that is going to give the hurry up to Lu Wei as well, because I feel as though Lu Wei has got the pace to get past Motoki. And they're down to the hairpin, has a quick faint look, but can't really find a way through. And look at that. Anthony Liu has taken 2 seconds a lap out of this battle on the last 2 laps. That's how fast he is in comparison. And I would say that Lu Wei is probably equal to that, but is spending too much time behind this Nissan. Now, Wei is going to have to start looking into his mirrors, and suddenly from focusing purely on attack, it's going to be about defense as well. Tight through the penultimate turn of the lap. trying to defend from Anthony Liu. Suddenly the focus is completely different for that number 4, purple Porsche. Gives the flash to Motoki, but is nowhere close enough to challenge. Whereas Anthony Liu is pretty close to the back of him. Interestingly, Ranchun Fan in the BMW in 5th position didn't go with Anthony Liu. And so at least for Silveram, the Nissan at the moment is safe, but we've got 13 minutes remaining. And this is going to be really tough. It's quite a short pit lane. Consolation prize for Cao Chi. So Craft Bamboo shouldn't lose all their points. They are 13 seconds ahead of this little battle, but it's going to be longer than that, pit in to pit out. And they've got to stop. It's not a drive-through, it's a stop-go penalty. So, Cao Chi comes to pit lane then. How long is it going to take him to go through the pit lane at 50 kilometers an hour, stop in his pit box, then start again, then get back out onto circuit? He's definitely going to lose a podium for sure, because these 3 are on the same piece of circuit. And there he goes then, back out onto track. He has established a pretty decent advantage ahead of these, so loses 1, 2, 3, 4 positions. Here comes Anthony Liu, perhaps down the inside. No, he's not going to be quite close enough there. Loses 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, it's going to be tight whether he is still on the points-paying positions, actually. Going to be very, very close to David Chen and Wakisaka in the LM Course Ferrari, but potentially has better pace. Watch the timing tower on the left. In real time, Cao Chi tumbles down the order. That will give us an idea where he stops. We also have automatic track limit infringements being given to a lot of the cars. There's Fisichella, a watching brief on his teammate, who's now up to 9th position, so Cao Chi settles in 10th. It does still have a point, and does still have an opportunity to fight back as well. Yeah, so we've got 4 places around the circuit where there is an automatic sensor in the tarmac registering cars that go off the circuit. And if you get 3 of those pings automatically, you get a drive-through penalty. That's what's happened to 321, which is the Absolute Racing Porsche of Daniel Liu and Li Chanyu. But could easily happen to a lot of other cars in the last 10 minutes, because obviously it's a cumulative thing. We need to be careful, we need to watch out for that. Feel as though the pressure is off a little bit here on Motoki. He's not having to drive as defensively as he once did. Oh no! The leader in AM is off. Alex Liu from Macau won the AM category yesterday, and he's not going anywhere there. And could that be a full course yellow? He's in the very, very fast 7, 8, 9 section. So I think he's going to need an intervention from a safety vehicle to put him out of the gravel there. And that will have to be done under full course yellow. I imagine that was probably a scary incident for Alex Liu. It's the same place as we saw the number 44 go off, and he went heavily off into the barriers yesterday. It's one of the very fastest past the circuit indeed. Full course yellow is called then. And we can settle. It's been pretty frenetic, hasn't it? Motoki still at the head of the field in the 500 Nissan. Yes, that Nissan has taken a victory last year in the hands of Yu Kanemaru at Suzuka, but Motoki was not part of the team then. It was Hirobon who was driving as the partner. Therefore, I think this could be Motoki's first victory in World Challenge Asia. We know that he was taking victories in Japan Cup for Bingo Racing, but this is only his third start in GT World Challenge Asia, so that could well mean a first success. Or will Lu Wei get a better race, a better start after this full course yellow? He knows how to take victory. Third in the championship in 2030, in 2023 and 2024. That's 4 victories to his name. 6 victories to the name of Anthony Liu in third position. And the worry will be, and I imagine this will need to be the case, that if we do have a safety car, we're going to bunch the whole field up, and that will change everything. Let's go down to the pits. Great to have Emily down in the pit lane and talking to this man's teammate.
Yes, I do have Yuka Namaru right next to me. You, so far everything's going so good.
Oh yeah, thank you. I think we had a really good start, and we just didn't have a pace to catch up with P1, but we still had a good pit stop, thanks to my team. And now Motoki is doing quite well, and hopefully we can keep this position.
Only a few minutes to go, fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So Kanemaru has success in this championship before, in this car, but not with Motoki. He is doing a very, very good job, isn't he? Has a little bit of an advantage when we go back to restart. There is a gap between the two. Registered at 2.7 seconds, but of course they are going slowly right now. And good news, marshals have managed to remove the number 30 machine out of the gravel trap down there at 7, 8, and 9. So the question will be whether race control decides to release a safety car to bunch the field up, or whether they feel there is enough temperature in brakes and tyres to go straight back to racing. 31 degrees air temperature, 50 degrees track temperature, but doesn't necessarily influence the cars like you would imagine them. It's better to go back to racing after a full course yellow like this, because you don't bunch everybody up, and as soon as you bunch everybody up, then you cause havoc. Let's see what race control decide. In Europe, when it's cold, it's needed, but let's see whether they feel it's needed today. The difference being, of course, we have our AM drivers in the cars right now as well. There's no movement from our safety car. It is still at the end of pit lane. Get the feeling that Lu Wei's speed limiter is maybe a little bit slower than Motoki's speed limiter. We are going safety car. So the safety car comes out to pick up the 500, and this will help our amateur drivers get tyre temperature back up into those tyres. So even if the track is 50 degrees, and even if the air temperature is 30, they have been only going at 60 kilometers an hour. Behind the safety car, they can go faster. And that should help. It'll help them get temperature into the tyres. It'll help temperature into the cars, but it will really have to sharpen our AM drivers' wits when we go back to restart, because we're closing all those gaps. Down to 17th position, there was nearly a lap difference, and now there'll be barely 15 seconds. That's not good news for this man, Yuka Namaru. Motoki had an advantage, he had a lead. It wasn't a big one, but it was something. And his main rival in Silver Ram, in 4th position, was a good 5-6 seconds back, but now will only be 3 cars back. Does help Craft Bamboo though, Kauche in 10th position. Was well back, but should be able to get past a few cars and improve those points scores for him. And there, unfortunately, Anderson Tonotto has dropped down to 18th position in his Ferrari. Yamaguchi 19th. Santoshu, Alabama Motorsport could find themselves an AM victory down in 20th, and the Toyota safety car lights are now out, so only one lap to bunch them all up together. They haven't all been bunched, to be fair. The number 8 amateur-driven Mercedes in 20th is way off the tail of this group, and then there's another group of cars that are even further back from that, led by Mike Joe. So nobody is all bunched together, but that's not necessarily the point of the safety car. It's more to allow tyres to get to temperature. What can Motoki do about the restart then? Just 3 starts to his name in GT World Challenge Asia. Pressure from 2 of our most experienced drivers directly behind in Wei Lu and Anthony Liu. And here we go then. It's been a really, really, really good start by Wei Lu, who draws alongside the Nissan, but he's on the outside line as they go towards turn 1. Is that going to invite Anthony Liu down the inside? No, a switchback from Lu Wei down the inside and takes the lead in the number 4. The Nissan loses 1 position. It's going to be 2 positions as Anthony Liu comes down the inside as well. That's such a disappointment. And there is the BMW for class lead as well now, crawling all over the tail of that big Nissan Nismo GTR. That really hasn't worked out for Motoki at all. Now to savour the class victory. But we know how strong Ran Chunfan can be. Through these sweepers, right, left, a test of who's got pressure and who is not. Tao Chi goes off the racetrack. And it's a battle for the lead as well. Anthony Liu making Wei Lu defend. And he really is putting Lu Wei under huge pressure here. Strike while the iron is hot. There's not many laps to go either. But whilst you're still getting yourself up to speed, this is where Anthony Liu historically has been very, very good. He's so good at getting straight back on it after a safety car. Whoa, a little bit too wide there. Could that be it for Anthony Liu? He's going to come across the line with not enough time to do another lap, and there's lots of squabbling going on the outside of the top 10 positions as well. Wakisaka was wide and over the line was 7th and now moves up to 6th position actually. But that was an error from Anthony Liu in the penultimate turn of the lap, and this is the last lap, so it won't be a 7th victory for Liu. And here down the inside comes David Chen trying to find a way through past Ren Chunfan. It's not for class position. Chen is the leader in silver, but he does have Daniel Frost crawling all over the back of him in that Mercedes, and that is for silver victory. For silver and victory, Nissan versus BMW, the last of the big braking zones around this Mandalika circuit, and there is no way through for that big BMW. They've taken 3 victories in Silver Am, but it probably is not going to be a 4th. David Chen fancies another position overall. It's 5th overall for the 96 Ferrari. And there's a bit of a queue as they come towards the final couple of corners. To the outside, it's not going to be anything doing, and this is going to be a victory for a car that has barely scored a single point so far this season. Finally, number 4, Lu Wei gets victory number 5 on his tally, the first of this year, and points for Alessio Piccarello on his opening weekend. So much squabbling further back as they try and sort themselves out, and there was a lot of changes of position. The Nissan, where's the Nissan gone? The Nissan must have made a mistake. Is it a transponder? No, the Nissan comes over the line now. Oh no! Not just out of the podium, but out of the podium in class. Motoki finishes 17th. And Daniel Frost ended up in 3rd position. There was a massive change. Oh, what's going on there? Quite sure why Antra is still flat out and destroying parts of the circuit. Something happened in the penultimate couple of turns there, pretty dramatically. No change of the front 2. Daniel Frost has got damage in the back of shot. And let's see what happens. So 500 in third position, turns right onto the brakes, defend, gets hit from, oh, massive chaos. I think the 96 might be the culprit there in David Chen. Oh, and that's why all the positions changed from third downwards, because they all then scattered. It ended up completely different to how it started. But the most disappointment for Kanemaru and Motoki. Damage to the car as well. And no points. Oh, he's lost completely the rear bumper. Heartbroken for the team. Getting so excited after a great qualifying session, a great stint from Kanemaru and Motoki doing everything he needed to do. But it is victory number 5 on Lu Wei's tally. As I say, just a single point from the first 3 races. They were dropped out of the point-scoring positions yesterday with a post-race penalty. But Picarello and Lu Wei both get their 5th victory in GTWorld Challenge Asia. It's a new pairing for 2025. It's a new team for Picarello, who's raced with Absolute and Craft Bamboo. But it's an Origin victory, and it's an Origin whitewash, of course, because they took their victory in race 1, and they've done it again in race 2. What a race from Lu Wei. So much pressure. So much pressure from Anthony Liu behind. Put loads of pressure on the 500 as well. It looks like there is a little bit of damage to the rear end, so there was a bit of contact here and there. But the championship campaign for Lu Wei starts now. You should be proud of yourself. I love that. You know, these pro drivers are not just here to jump in the car for half an hour and drive around. They do work so hard for their pro drivers. Let's go down to the pit lane.
So, gentlemen, Quinn, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It was not easy. I mean, we had an issue yesterday on the car. The team works hard all night to find it. They found it. The car was finally good, but then I got smashed into T1, and then our diffuser was completely destroyed. The car was really hard, so I knew he would struggle, but he did an amazing job. I mean, he can be really proud of himself because he did mega, and yeah, a win, and he's really happy.
You brought the car in first place. Amazing.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's been a tough season. Didn't score any points in the first 3 races, but the team did a great job trying to manage the car, and my teammate is mega fast. I couldn't believe how he drove this broken car for the whole race, and he wasn't much slower. I couldn't. So I really just tried my best to bring the position back. So thank you to everyone who helped me. It's big.
Bravo to both of you. Congratulations. Thank you so much.
And there, an extra tryst to the tail, damage to the Porsche. As Stefan Rattel comes to congratulate our winners. So it wasn't just as fighting with Anthony Liu and Motoki. They also had to nurse that car around the circuit, and with a broken diffuser, so much downforce created by the airflow around the back of the car, bringing that rear end down on the Porsche. And if it's damaged by Lorenzo Petresi into turn 1, where they tried to go full wide. No one's fault by doing that, just all trying to be very aggressive and ambitious into turn 1, but it did cause damage, and they had to limp that car home.
Yeah, Korea, Korea.
Now, where did Dan Arrow and Minghang Wang finish?
Now we go.
14th.
Debut weekend.
And Silver Am, 3rd position. With the elimination of the Nissan, they do pick up a podium. So Dan Arrow's got himself a job next weekend, doesn't he? Because he did such a good stint. We saw that opening stint, how many positions he picked up. Yes, he didn't qualify well, but he got himself right into the mix of things. And Mingwang Hang ended up finishing just 12 seconds off the lead of the race. We're going to have to go through the full graphic because there was a lot of changes. There's Andrew Bentley. First time here in GT World Challenge Asia. And it's his car that took the win in AM with Setawan Santosho. They took the victory in AM for Alabama Motorsport. They didn't start yesterday's race. The Pro-Am victory to our victors, Origin Motorsport, and another victory in silver AM for Team KRC. It didn't look that way though for today. The winners in silver, Daniel Frost in the 77. But this is how that top 10 reshuffled then. Jiatong Liang and Daniel Frost an overall third position ahead of Max Zhen and Ruang Chungfan. Deng Yi and David Chen, I think they're going to lose that fifth position for the contact. Mortara Antra in sixth, and actually they will be on the podium, I think. And then Bob Wan and Leo Ye are championship leaders, seventh position. Wakasaka and Fisichella in eighth. And then the 66 of Prince Abu Bakr in ninth position, and Kauchi and Jaden Ojeda, our pole position car, in 10th position. Our winners in AM, 18th overall. Ben Porter getting second in class in the end after the number 30 spun out. And we did quite high attrition for this one. Climax Racing with a penalty at the end of the race. That's why they ended up down in 25th spot. And how many is that? 7 cars retiring out of this second race in Mandalika. Looks like we've got an Indonesian dragon down there below the podium, joining some of the cars. That's a beautiful day, isn't it? The storms that have rolled in around this time each day so far don't look as though they are coming today. Do, if you can, if you're watching and thinking about coming racing in GT World Challenge Asia, come along. We're racing in Buriram in a few weekends' time, and really hope that next year we're back here in Mandalika. We've had such a warm welcome from the circuit. It's a fantastic town, Kuta, and it's wonderful to come racing. The second race at the Mandalika International Circuit with the pro drivers starting was very, very aggressive going into turn one. Jaden Ojeda in the Craft Bamboo Mercedes down the inside, but a very ambitious Yu Kanemaru around the outside in the Nissan Nismo GTR, trying to snatch the lead. Boccolacci in the Porsche momentarily in third position, but there was contact going through turn one, which eliminated Lorenzo Petresi in his Ferrari. Light contact, but enough to damage the front end of the 55 car. On board with Thierry Vermeulen, watching Dorian Boccolacci losing his rear end, and Vermeulen moved into third. Then Marcus Winkelhock had a big contact through the final turn, and we had the first of our safety cars. Alessio Picarello elbowing Thierry Vermeulen out of the way through turn one and opening the door for Ben Green. That was for fifth position at the time. And we had green flag pit stops to exchange the pro cars to their AMs, the silvers to their AMs, and of course silver to silver as well. Anderson Tonotto jumping aboard the 98 machine, but a few cars were a bit too fast through the pits and they would pick up penalties. Our AM leader spinning themselves into the gravel at turn 9, brought out another safety car, and then penalties delivered for the leader of our race, Cao Chi, having to hand over to this group of drivers the lead. And on the restart, Motoki losing that lead to Lu Wei and Anthony Liu. A good fight ensued for the last couple of laps between the two Porsches, between Phantom and Origin. And on the penultimate corner, The 500 Nissan being turned around by, we think, the win here, Ferrari, and losing third position. It changed the order from third all the way down to 10th, but Lu Wei took the victory for himself and Alessio Piccarello, both their 5th victories in GT World Challenge Asia, and basically their first points of this year's campaign. The 360 lookout tower, great for spotting the waves coming in and great for watching motorsport here at the Mandalika International Circuit. Initially built as a street circuit, and maybe over the years we will see hotels and things pop up around this track. That's the plan. Here is the podium ceremony then. The overall podium with Daniel Frost and his teammate Alex Liang in third, and those 2 Porsches second and first. Boccolacci, Anthony Liu, Piccarello and Lu Wei. Anthony Liu very desperate to get his champagne sprayed first. Preparations to the bottle. And the trophies presented to our top 3. A bit of a surprise perhaps for Daniel Frost to find himself on the podium right at the end there. It's a silver-silver pairing, and I imagine his view was of cars going left, right and centre, and him just picking up positions. There's Daryl O'Young, the owner of Craft Bamboo, in the back of shot. Once upon a time a driver himself, but now with responsibilities across the motorsport sphere, including his team. And there is our top 3 overall. Time to clear the dignitaries and try and hope that that champagne is nice and cool. 32 degrees out there, humidity ever growing. So Anthony Liu sprays champagne on everybody else and then clears off. Cheeky. Boccolacci with a, yeah, that didn't work, Dorian. That's not one for the gram. Check out Dorian Boccolacci on Instagram. He has a massive amount of followers and actually has done some quite interesting explainers of certain bits of this racing from Sepang, and also so far this weekend. Gives a nice colour to some of our drivers. Dan Arrow is another one to follow on social media. Big social following. Origin taking victory in race 1, Origin taking victory in race 2. They took race 1 as well, of course, in Sepang, which means it's 3 out of 4 races for Origin in the Teams Championship. That's going to be very healthy. So there's the Pro-Am driver standings after 4 races of a 12-round championship. And we didn't see too much of Bob Yuan and Leo Ye today, but they 15 points ahead of Anthony Liu and Boccolacci, with Prince Jeffrey Ibrahim continuing to hold on to third because a whole set of new drivers scored decent points today. Ojeda and Cao Chi there up in 5th spot. And so this now, the Pro-Am podium. And of course the first 2 the same, but with the 3rd position, a silver class car. The 3rd Pro-Am car is the brand new Lamborghini that was flown directly here. A very strong run from Andrea Antra, who picks up his trophy alongside Eduardo Mortara. Lovely to have you, Eduardo. Hope you come back again. 2nd weekend in GT World Challenge Asia. 1 weekend in a Porsche, 1 weekend in a Lamborghini. I know that Lamborghini is a full season entry, and I'm sure that Andrea will be wanting the very best partnership, but Mortara's got a pretty busy schedule, what with Formula E as well as his duties as a Lamborghini Works driver. So interesting to see who we end up with. Our top 3 then. it's just so cool to have these mega international stars joining our Asia competitors. Mortaro has wandered off. Ah, cheeky. Prepares his champagne off the podium to come back on again. And I wonder how much enjoyment they're all going to end up having in Kuta this evening. As you know, the championship globally partners alongside America, Australia and Europe, and points are attributed to each of our global manufacturers. Porsche clearly with a strong weekend here in Asia, and they close up to just 1 point behind BMW. But after Mercedes' success yesterday, they continue to lead the global manufacturers as we roll into next weekend's European adventure. The wonderful Indonesian hill, the 360 lookout tower. It is actually a circuit, if you do find yourself in Lombok, Kuta, that you can come and visit. A lot of it is open to the public. Thank you very much for joining us here in Mandalika. We'll see you next time in Chang in 3 weekends' time. To our next podium then, and it is for our 3 silvers. Now, of course, this is pre any post-race penalty for the 96. So those guys in second position. It will have been a mistake from David Chen, trying to push too hard. We obviously didn't see from the outside point of view, but Motoki was heavily defending and having to go so slowly around the tight penultimate turn. Was, of course, for class position because the Nissan Nismo in a silver AM category rather than the silvers for these guys. But anyway, it meant that the 96 lost the win in silver and handed it to Craft Bamboo. But for the moment, Winnie Harmony on the podium in second, and Uno Racing in third spot. They were down in, where did they finish? Actually, no, they recovered quite well. 12th position for Rio. A very good second stint, actually, for Rio. After Sean Thong did the first stint. And the 4th of our silver cars, the 45 getting turned around at turn 10. They ended up in 19th spot. So that's going to slightly switch up the silver championship because Frankie Cheng Kong Fu and James Yu Kwai have been the sort of strongest part of that. They still lead, but only now by a single point ahead of the 96, with Chai Tong Liang and Daniel Frost in third, and Sean Thong and Rio, the only new team to the championship, Uno Racing, that pink car, in fourth. And so, to silver AM. And as we said earlier, the Korean team of Hangwang Fang and Dan Arrow, rookie to the championship, in third position. Second for the Absolute Corsa Lamborghini, who got turned around yesterday, but Akish Nandi on the podium today with Chuang Ruhan. But once again, that very tall Dutchman, Maxim Hussein, on the top step. That's a 100-point maximum for himself and Ran Chuan Fan. Very strong amateur competitor. Compare him to the likes of Bob Yuan in pace. And Team KRC showing what BMW can do. Just the 2 BMWs on the entry list for GTWorld Challenge Asia. I imagine we'll have a few guest entries in Thailand as well in a few weekends' time, because there's a very strong Thai Super Series for GT3 cars, which SRO have recently partnered with. And we usually see the likes of Henk Kinks join us in Buriram. Not much space though, because 33 is our capacity entry. And we would expect all of those capacity entries to be there in Buriram in a few weeks. Back to more familiar ground, perhaps. Well, silver round podium then. Congratulations to Max Usen. I feel sad though. I feel sad for Team Gojizen. They really deserve to be on that podium today. That 500 Nissan doing such a good job with Motoki especially. But in the end, getting turned around and sadly handing the victory to the 89 and handing up podium positions as well. One final podium coming up, the AM podium. And actually, the AM podiums have been spread out across, there's only 4 AM competitives, but been spread out pretty well this year. Ben Porter was on the top step in the first race of Sepang, I should say. But Setawan Santosho and Andrew Bentley on his opening weekend in GT World Challenge Asia on the top step of the podium after disappointment yesterday, not getting to really start. A very, very nice reward. Yeah, Christian Colombo and David Chip Vantoro took the second win in AM in Sepang. And so I think that means we've had a different AM winner in every single race. Trying to remember who was on the top of the AM podium yesterday. One last champagne spraying here in Mandalika. Congratulations to AM competitors, of course. The podium yesterday was to the number 30 that spun into the gravel today. So all 4 AM competitors have each taken an AM victory across our 4 races so far. That's a nice story. Oh, that's a shame though. Oh, our leaders can't get their champagne open. A few flights come out of the Lombok Island tonight, but I imagine there'll be plenty of celebrations in Kuta this evening and around the Mandalika circuit. I really do hope that motorsport continues to grow in this area at this circuit. Clearly a great racing track for drivers and a really great area to come and enjoy motorsport. Thank you for joining us across the weekend here on GT World Challenge Asia. Next weekend is Zandvoort in Europe. Make sure you join us. Bye-bye for now.
Very badly, man. Front wing damage! Can we get extra power? Is there a qualifying mode?
Is there a way to actually get...
One lap, yeah. So get us back at one piece, please.
Don't worry, I'll be a good taxi driver. I'm also employed in Monaco. You know, Taxi Monaco.
Oh yeah, true. Now you have a baby. Treat me like a baby.
Yeah. Okay, I'll drive around like it's my baby in the back.
We actually got slick tires. It's gonna be hilarious. Not going. Going. Just pull it. Excuse me. Excuse me. Oh, it bounces.
Okay.
Flat down. Flat down.
Watch out.
Not bad. Oh man, I'm for the win. Whoa! Back wheel.
I'm gonna cut the track.
Let's cut the corner. Look at this line! They nearly crashed. Oh! Are they really racing, bro? Oh my god. Oh yes! Good line. Shortcut. Hey! Oh my god, you're like a mil away! Oh
No, straight line. Straight, open up the zero, open up the zero.
It's gonna be a mess. They look like proper tires. They are. Max! No! Gabby is my chauffeur. I am the Uber driver. Look here. We are focusing. It's like the real car. Max! Sweet! This will end very badly, man. I tell you.
This has clearly become a race now.
This is the best fun of the year. Come on! Way faster! Lewis, you want me to drive for you? Oh, finish crashing! Oh! Whoa, 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 whoa! No! We're gonna crash! Oh, this is so cool. We should have all of this all the time. It's actually pretty responsive. It's actually pretty responsive. I like it. Get out of the way, the safety car! Alright. I'm straight lining it. Okay, a completely different track. Hey! It's working! Track limit. Come on!
Imagine this thing falls apart.
We broke it! We broke the front wing! We broke the front wing! No, it's not, it's front wing! You don't realize, but
yeah, we are quite fast actually.
No, okay, it's fine. Check. What do we do up this hill?
Oh, I'm gonna
push forward on the hill.
I'm gonna cut. Hello. Hello, guys.
Yes.
Oh.
We're getting some speed down the straight.
That was quick.
Look for the no hay. Oh, my knee! That was a hit! That was a hit! My knee! Ah! My f***ing knee, man!
Mercedes looks slow. Yeah, we might get a podium.
My knee!
Mate, the whip! You know, like, oh! The seat is breaking!
I think we got more speed, so we can back off and we're saving battery anyways.
No! Oh, no, 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 no!
Oh!
George! Oh! Again! Imagine front wing damage! We got floor damage!
Oh, it's gonna end in disaster.
Maybe McLaren crash. How the f do they do that?
Easy, they were around. Easily done.
I wanna around as well. I wanna catch this Haas and then we shunt them.
Yeah, take him in the back.
I will actually.
Take Ollie in the back.
This straight is so long. Especially at this speed. Oh my gosh. It's like going up. Why am I going up?
We're quick on this race, we're Williams.
Hello? Yes? I'm on the phone! Hey, Kimmy! Kimmy, you look like you're doing business school!
What is he doing? Is he choosing a strategy?
Who are you speaking to?
Hello?
Let me enjoy the first time this weekend we are somewhere decent.
Oh,
Careful, careful! Get out the way! Get out, get out, get out, get out!
I'm pushing you!
Oh no!
Jesus Christ! Mate, there's so many pieces.
I don't think...
Look!
They were not anticipating this, huh? Wait, let's wait for the sound. Yes.
Last corner, last lap.
Push! Wait, Mark. I think this is the line. Go!
Podium!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes! Where are we parking?
Yes!
This one.
There's so much debris everywhere. Me too.
Oh no!
Well done, guys.
Wow, that was a success. We got damage. We got a lot of damage.
That was the most fun drivers parade we've ever had. Some dirty driving from this one here.
No, they're still in the wall.
Yeah.
The dirty boys are still in the wall back there.
That was great fun.
Yeah, I do think they have to sweep the track. There's quite a bit of Lego debris now on the track. A few cars collided along the way, but yeah, it's a bit different, that's for sure.